What's going on, guys? Welcome to our random video on this channel. Today's video we're talking about the Pixel and Pixel XL phone, because today I actually went to the Verizon store because I wanted to see these phones for myself. A lot of people who review these phones are saying that the phones look even better in person than they do in video. So that got me curious enough to see what this was all about. I went to the Verizon store and there was a good amount of people in the store. Not that many, but there was people in there because it's in a big city. The phones were interesting, but I still don't like the design, and I still think they look cheap, even in person. And that's not to say that you can't go out there and purchase the phones, because there's people subscribed to my channel, and I read your comments. There's people purchasing the phone. It doesn't necessarily mean we all have to agree on every single phone that's out there, and I think that's important to say, because some people out there think they can't subscribe to a channel, or they can't watch videos where someone disagrees with you. That's not how things work, basically, because we're not going to agree on every single phone. But for these Pixel phones, I just am not impressed with the design of the phone, so that's just something I think that lacks with the phones. As far as how Android works on them, absolutely fantastic, because the way the hardware works with the platform, it's really fast. If you go into a Verizon store, and I suggest people do this, especially if you're interested in the Pixel phones, even if you don't purchase it from Verizon, see the phone for yourself, because I think it was a really fantastic idea just to go to see the phones, because you can see videos, you can also read reviews, but there's nothing better than actually using the phone for yourself. So when we look at Android and we think about how great it is right now, we also have to think about what's the next step for Google with the Pixel phones. From what I saw at the store, I think it's an easy solution. Don't work with HTC with creating these kind of phones unless you really have a lot more control over the design of the phone. This is the reason I'm saying this. Although people are saying that Google controlled the design, if you go to various tables in the Verizon store with all the different manufacturers, Samsung has a table, then the Google Pixel phones have their own area, also HTC, everyone has their own area in the Verizon store. If you go to the HTC table, it very much looks like the Pixel phones. And what that tells me is that although HTC branding is not on the outside of the Pixel phones, you can still get an idea of how HTC went about manufacturing that phone, and it looks cheap. That might not be all Google's fault. Whatever the story is with HTC and Google, I don't think it was a good recipe for a great phone. And I think it's something important to talk about, because when people hear that if someone doesn't like a Pixel phone, such as myself, doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like the idea that people are buying the phones, because if you're interested in a Pixel phone or even the Pixel XL and you like the phone, that's all that really matters, because who really cares what anyone else thinks as long as you like the phone. But I really suggest that people go to the Verizon store, see what it's about, actually use the phone, and then make a purchase like that, because it is an expensive phone. You could get the phone at a good price if you purchase a 2-year contract with Verizon. The one issue I have with a company like Verizon is data capping, because you are paying per gigabyte, and they also have an additional feature where you can slow down the data so you can avoid overages. I don't think that's the right way to go about having consumers use data, so I think it's wrong. And I also don't think it coincides with net neutrality, so that's something for the FCC, of course, but whatever. The point is, with these Pixel phones, I am not impressed with the design of them. I think Android works fantastically on them. It's always great to use Android the way it's supposed to be. I actually just read something about Huawei. Supposedly they're working on a phone that's over $1,000, something like that. There's so many manufacturers. I think Google has a lot to learn from the various manufacturers that are designing these phones like a premium product. And I know we all joke around about Apple and the premium products, but they have stores all over the country and the world, and they know how to sell a phone. They know how to market it, and they know about design. So I think that's something that Google really needs to learn, and then work with the manufacturer that can design their phone. I just don't think HTC should have been the manufacturer, and I was thinking that before even they created these Pixel phones, because when you start hearing things about HTC and Google, you start thinking about what exactly HTC has created before, and I'm not that impressed with HTC in the way they design phones. It's just something that I'm not interested in. I was never interested in HTC since. HTC is just not a company I'm interested in purchasing an Android device from. So as far as these Pixel phones, I think they're great for the people that are interested in Android. I noticed the person from Verizon said that he thought that Galaxy users would go to the Pixel phones. I really don't agree with that. I actually think that Galaxy users, people that are fans of TouchWiz and the Samsung phones, they have gotten used to phones that really have great designs. Besides the Note 7 that acts like a grenade sometimes. You know what I mean though. The Note 7 actually had a great design, but the point is that Samsung really knows about designing phones. I also think that Google is going to learn from this experience. They have to, because when they see the sales, it's not going to be as impressive as the iPhones, of course, or even some of the other competition out there. So there's something they can work on. There's nothing wrong with Google actually learning something from companies like Samsung or even Huawei. Look at what some of the other companies are doing. Figure out what people are interested in as far as design, and then go from there. And I was somewhat surprised when I used the phone, but not that surprised that there's people who review these phones and they just don't want to say that they don't like the look of the phone. Often when I'm hearing about these phones, they're saying that other people out there have issues with the phone. They don't want to say they have an issue with the phone themselves because it angers people. A lot of people get annoyed by it because if they're going out there spending a lot of money on a phone, they want to hear people say great things about the phone, so it encourages them to purchase the phone or even like the phone even more, because when you see other people out there enjoying the phone, it makes it like that you're not the only one that likes the phone. But at the same time, we have to think about what kind of design the phone has, and not everyone's going to like that design. As far as what I've said about the Pixel and Pixel XL phone, I think Google created a phone that's fantastic for Android itself. Android runs flawlessly on the phone. I mean, it's a great experience. It's just the look of the phone that I don't agree with. And actually, they told me at Verizon that the limited blue color was sold out. So people are interested in the Pixel and Pixel XL. Actually, when I was in the store, someone was asking about it. I was only in the store for like 10 minutes, but it shows you that someone was interested in the phone. It's not like I was the only one asking about the Pixel and Pixel XL. People are paying attention. They want to get a great phone from Google. Everyone has different taste out there. It doesn't necessarily mean that the design itself is the worst thing out there. It just means there's a lot of people that thought that Google could have added additional features to the phone, such as being water resistant and other features, where we thought that Google was going in a direction with the Nexus phones, and then to see something different and a different name, and then also questioning the look of the phone. A lot of people thought this was a curveball from Google, and we were expecting something different, and that's exactly what was going on. I could say for myself, that's what I was thinking, because I was actually looking at these phones as the next version of the Nexus phones. But these are much different. As far as Android, it's Android. And if you're a fan of Android, you should always be encouraged to see the different phones out there because you have so many choices. And I think that's probably one of the most amazing things from Android and also the manufacturers that work on Android devices. But anyways, I would like to know what you guys think about this. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the Pixel and Pixel XL smartphones. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.